We have finally come to the end of one of the most exciting and triumphant years for Taylor Swift. From historic award wins to the end of the Eras Tour and even the release of a record-breaking album in the midst of it all, 2024 has been an incredible year for her. As for us fans, we were lucky enough to experience the tour firsthand and enjoy all of the content released over the last 12 months. But how did this year turn out in comparison to our predictions, and what were your favourite moments? We'll be finding out as we take a look back at our bingo card that we made in January of this year, as well as announce the winners of our annual award show. Welcome to Swiftly Spoken, a fan-made Taylor Swift podcast in which we break down her lyrics, deep dive into full album retrospectives, and theorise about what may be coming next. As always, we are your hosts, Cameron and Lisa, and in this final episode of the year, we'll be celebrating everything that Taylor got up to, reviewing our predictions from the start of 2024, and announcing the winners of the 4th Swiftly Spoken Awards, and finally, looking forward to what might be next for Taylor in 2025.
As you said, Cameron, this year has been jam-packed, and especially for us as fans, obviously the Eras Tour came to Europe, which we'll be speaking about in a minute, so for us it was a big year, but in general it's been a very, very exciting and big year. Starting off right at the beginning of the year, we had Taylor's first appearance at an award show this year, which were the Golden Globes, which kind of got lost.
Feels like a lifetime ago,
because it does feel, so long ago, yeah.
It was like, I'd totally forgotten, in that kind of gorgeous green dress, she had her like really luscious long hair, all curly, she looked amazing.
She did.
And she was quite present. Often in the Golden Globes, she either doesn't really walk the carpet or appears very briefly. But it was quite nice that she kind of was there and kind of making her name and her kind of impression on the awards. And I guess as she's kind of gearing up towards what I guess we'll be discussing at the end of this episode, what 2025 might potentially entail or be gearing up towards. It was quite an interesting first kind of appearance really of the year, was at the Golden Globes.
It also
and a very good one as well.
Like such a different time period, because at that point we were still all very much in tune with Reputation, Taylor's version, maybe even Debut with the green going on. And like you said, it was a very different moment, which leads us to the next moment this year, which really marked the complete change of what was to become of 2024 and the content that Taylor put out this year, which were, of course, the Grammy Awards with Taylor's historic 4th Album of the Year win. This is first ever for artists. Now she has a total of 14 Grammys. Obviously, she won 2 this year. Again, with that historic award for Midnight's Album of the Year. But of course, this was the moment in which she also announced the Tortured Poets Department, which now obviously feels so obvious. Of course, we needed this album. It was, so intrinsic to the Eras Tour and to her journey. But back then, this derailed our bingo card, that's for sure. Yes,
yeah, definitely. And I think because it was the night of the Grammys, her profile pictures all changed, didn't they, to black and white?
Black and white. So that was...
And everyone was like, oh my god. And then she rocked up in a kind of black and white dress. So everyone was kind of like, what is going on? And then obviously, once it was announced, it was like, what on earth? But no, at the time it was kind of like, oh my god, this is so overwhelming, what the hell? But yeah, you could have never really guessed at the start of the year what was then to become of the year, what with Tortured Poets, the change up of the Eras Tour and everything that's kind of been released since. But yeah, if those two moments feel so long ago, the Grammys and Golden Globes.
Starkly contrasting as well.
Yeah, very much so.
Then of course she continued on with the Eras Tour in Australia and Asia, and obviously we had a lot of teasing for TTPD, which is so fun to look back at now and see all the releases and all the mashups of the different songs, which were kind of hinting to little things
towards the sonic sound,
exactly,
or the kind of theming, and also then her kind of teasing the album covers, the different versions, the Bolter and things like that, which is really good fun. And also it's weird to think that Sabrina Carpenter was a support at the start of the year for the Eras Tour, and then look at what her career's gone on to do this year.
I know, that's crazy to see how it has all evolved over time. Who was there and who wasn't there, and now who's there and who isn't there, and now it's come to an end. It's just crazy to see how it all went down, really. That leads us to the release of the Tortured Poets Department in April, along with the anthology with all of those extra versions, which again we're kind of tying the year up with a little bow really now when we're getting finally the anthology in its physical version finally. But obviously back in April we only had the streaming version. However, even so, TTPD broke loads of records. It is marked as the first album ever to pass over 1 billion streams on Spotify in just a week. And of course, for Taylor, it sold 2.6 million units in the first week in the USA. That is absolutely crazy, because back when we were talking about 1989 and even Midnights, we were like, can she do 1 million again? Obviously, she smashed that out of the park twice, and to do 2 million nowadays, crazy.
It's wild. It was wild when she did it with Midnights and kind of beat records. But then to do it with 1989, outsell the original in its first week.
I know.
But then to beat herself again with, like, it's just wild, really. It's just, like, constant. It's like every release is, like, smashing records that were almost, like, deemed unachievable, 6 months prior. It's absolutely wild. That was crazy, the release week of Torture Poets, and how massive it was and how exciting it was. The fact that I just remember how also overwhelming it was at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot of content because of those 31 songs.
It was so much content. I remember feeling like, I'd barely listened to the kind of standard once or twice, if that, when then I don't think I'd even gone back online, and I think you might have messaged me, I think, and been like, have you seen, or something came up, and I was like,
that,
what? Yeah, and I was like, what? And
I've just finished, I can't do this.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm not emotionally prepared.
Yeah, and then that night I also then had like a release party club night event where they were playing some of the songs, so I was like desperately trying to learn the songs as well. I was like, this is I can't learn 30 songs in like 12 hours. But no, it was wild, absolutely wild, the first half of the year.
Of course, alongside that we also had the Fortnite music video, we had the Post Malone feature, of course, so that was all very fun. Loving seeing now finally the behind the scenes of all of that come together. That's very fun. But back then, again, we only got a few little bits and bobs, but we'll talk about the behind the scenes things in just a minute. But then, of course, the Eras tour continued on in Europe, which was the leading to our date. And of course, I mean, who was not tuned in to the Eras tour for that Paris opening weekend where we were all just holding our breaths to see what was going to happen? And that moment that she didn't do Evermore, I was like,
was wild.
What is going on? What is going on?
What the hell is happening? What is happening? What is happening?
I was so scared.
My God, Yes, I was like, oh my God, it was wild. I'll never forget that. It was so fun. I honestly felt like I went.
It really did feel like we were all in Paris that weekend. It really did.
Yeah, it was so fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then obviously we got to experience going to the Eras tour.
Yes.
You got to see Taylor for the first time ever.
Yes, finally, after all these years.
Yes.
Finally,
after all
she made
these
it,
years.
I made it, we reunited, whatever. But it was so fun. We were very lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And honestly,
and
I'm so grateful.
It was unreal. Yeah, me too. It was an absolute summer of a lifetime for me. Like, running backwards and forwards to Wembley. Like, I just can't explain how. I look back on it now with a couple of months kind of past. I'm like, God, I loved it at the time. I was having the time of my life. But God, I don't think I really appreciated how unreal that was. Like,
honestly, Taylor has obviously spoken about this, like she wanted to create this specific space for fans to kind of like forget about everything else and just have the best time ever. And she did. She really smashed it out the park because it did feel, I don't know, I can't compare it to anything I've ever experienced emotionally. Yeah, to be there, to physically see everyone come together and celebrate such, I don't know, it's such a personal thing, but at the same time, as a group, come together and celebrate it and see all the creativity being put into all the costumes, see everyone just coming together as a community, like swapping bracelets and stories about how they discovered Taylor and when they last saw her and if they ever traveled to see her, and then actually, singing at the same time, experiencing those feelings. For me as well, like you said, it was the first time I got to see her and experience these things, and it was just it was altering. Basically, it altered my brain chemistry.
It was unreal. Yeah, absolutely unreal. I just can never. I would honestly pay anything to do it, just experience just a millisecond of it again, because it was just so fun. And then getting to watch kind of each other's shows on live streams and stuff, and being so excited for each other, and us then both getting to experience the same surprise song, like it was so cool. Like, I don't know, you're like, God, I don't know if I'll ever experience anything like that ever again.
Well,
because it
in
was
the
just
end,
wild.
You gotta take it for what
so
it
lucky
was.
that we got
Exactly. And just look back at it really, really gratefully. And look at also all of the other ways that we were able to interact with the tour, which a lot of people also were able to interact. And I'm glad that Taylor has kind of like spoken on things like that, like to all the people who watch the live streams at home. And I really do hope, again, we'll talk about this as we come to the end of this episode, but I really do hope we get that last, at least the TTPD era as well, to complete that.
To kind of, complete everything.
Because she's made everything else very accessible as well, with the book and the streaming and, you know, all the different ways.
And things,
So hopefully, crossing our fingers for that. But moving on, 2024 chronologically, we also had the Gracie Abrams Us collaboration, which you got to see live.
Yes, I got to witness live. It was released on the Friday, which was the first show that I went to, the opening night in London. So it was all kind of very like, I probably listened to it about twice over the weekend.
I know.
Having to go to the Eras Tour multiple times and then having to then experience it live was then like, oh my God, I only really know that. And I was like, this is so embarrassing. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, the fact I don't know a Taylor Swift
song. I know.
Song.
They're catching me out here.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, God, I'm being, shown as a fake fan or something. But no, that was so cool. And also, again, something that often gets forgotten. I feel like the weird and wonderful little collabs that Taylor does with, like, I don't know, Big Red Machine or, like, The National often get kind of, like, I don't know, just often get kind of forgotten about a little bit, but they are often the kind of little hidden gems. And alongside that, we also got to see like the videos of Gracie and Taylor writing it and then setting fire to Taylor's house, which was really, really fun to get that kind of behind the scenes content that, we don't often get nowadays. So, no, that was really, really cool.
Moving on, obviously, we had an appearance at another award show, this time for the VMAs, where Taylor again won Video of the Year, the biggest award of the night, really. So incredible, once again. Which leads us to another MV, which was the I Can Do It With a Broken Heart MV. And again, this one is another glimpse into things that I would like to see coming. Let's just say that.
Yes. And also this, again, was something that I was at.
Yeah.
Because that was the final night. And I just remember it was playing and I was a bit like, what is this? And I just didn't really think anything of it. I was like, I've got to get a tube. Like, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I was just like, so I was kind of like watching it. Just like, I was like, this is new. But I was like, you just like, your brain's kind of like so... I was kind of quite sad that it was over. It was the final time. I was like, I'm never going to see this tour again. You know what I mean? And I was just like, this is new, but no one's reacting as if this is new. Everyone's just leaving. And I was like, what's going on?
It was such just a random moment to just say, just put the video on. Just put the video on.
Yeah. It was, wild. But no, so again, that was also a bit wild. And like you said, something that I really want to see more of, like seeing behind the scenes is something that I absolutely love.
It's
one of my favourite things. Yeah, it's so fascinating. And I'm still yet... My book has arrived at home, but I'm still yet to go back home and see it. So I'm so excited to see the behind the scenes properly from the Eras Tour book as well. But this was our first kind of glimpse really into anything really overly behind the scenes.
And with that, the Eras Tour was taken back to North America and finally wrapped up there as well, which for us was only a couple of weeks ago now. And it still feels very strange that
it just doesn't feel like it's over.
I know.
It feels like, there's got to be something else.
Right? Again, we're getting to that, but it just feels so like great, amazing and great, and it was the best time ever, and it had to end at some point, obviously. But it's just so weird to think, we're never going to see an Eras date again. But still, other than that, we have seen Taylor throughout this year out and about at football. Hopefully we'll be seeing her maybe some more over this Christmas season.
Especially around Christmas period.
Yeah.
And I think what's nice as well is her confidence at these games, like her kind of just the way she's kind of holding herself, the way she's dressing is so much more confident and not like she's trying to,
it's reflected in her look, anyone. Which we love to see. Yeah,
which is really good, and hopefully that's a sign of her kind of confidence in herself and her relationship. And it seems all like she's enjoying herself. It's wild that she's now like a kind of football, person.
Yeah, she knows all the ins and outs
associated with that. Exactly. But no, that's really good. That's been really nice to see as well. Is her appearing on weekends, and then also just like her fashion and what she's wearing and stuff. So no, that's been really fun this year.
Wrapping up the end of this year, obviously, as we alluded to, we have finally got the anthology in its complete version, finally, physically. Amazing edition, by the way. We haven't spoken about... We spoke about the announcement of it, but now we actually have it and have seen it. Amazing edition. Love to see that finally we have a home for everything, basically. Which
yes.
We're thankful for. And like you said, the Eras Tour book, which... only came out for us not very long ago, because obviously internationally it did take a little bit longer than for America. However, again, we were very lucky to be able to even get it, because that sold
thank
so
God,
quickly.
Yes, thank God you reminded me, because I was like
I'm
half
on it.
asleep.
Don't worry.
And you messaged me like, FYI, remember? Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. And then thankfully went on, literally was like on the website, like loading, bought it, had to sit in a queue to buy it, and then purchased it, said to you, I've got it, have you got it? You're like, yeah, I got it. And then it was gone.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it was so
whoa.
quick. I'm sure.
Yeah. And also,
there will be more.
I think it's only gone up once. I think it's only gone up once more.
There has to be more, though. There has to be.
There's got to be more. It's probably just a bit of a delay, especially with Christmas and things. But no, I was really, really glad to get that, and I cannot wait to unbox it and see it.
It's a very exciting product, I have to say. Like, you can pore over it for hours, which is, that's what you want, really. And again,
yes,
all these behind the scenes details are something that we absolutely love, because we love breaking down all these little tidbits of information and things that she says and what she doesn't say. So, we're always going to be very, very interested in a little behind the scenes look at things. For the last few things that have been happening this year is, most recently, Taylor has won 10 Billboard Music Awards, making her the most awarded artist ever, with a total of 49, which, again, absolutely incredible. To win 10 in a night, oh my God.
Yeah, no, to be fair though, the Billboard Music Awards have always loved Taylor. Like, they've always loved her, but it's really good that she's kind of getting that recognition from the Billboard Music Awards, because sometimes, surprisingly, she doesn't always get it.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's nice that she's kind of been awarded that, and wild to win that many. But this has been like a stellar year for her.
It has,
especially on the billboards. She dominated them all year.
This is it. I mean, over the last 2 years, really, if you think about it, there's been so much of her music that has literally been up there from all these different albums, which is something we discussed also behind the scenes when we saw kind of like these wrap-ups of the biggest albums in streaming of the year and things like that. Love Is There, which is absolutely crazy to see. This is a 2019 album that a lot of people sleep on, but it's there. Some of your favourite songs.
Supposedly the album that is... Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Some albums released this year ain't on there. So yeah, no, it is wild. It is wild. But yeah, no, really cool that she's kind of, because it's always been like, how she's only, I don't know, 5 away, 10 away, or whatever.
This is it.
So the fact she kind of finally broke it.
Yeah. And then obviously, because we are recording this a little bit early, we're not sure if anything is going to go down, but as Christmas is coming around and, the holiday times are here, sometimes Taylor does pull back a little bit and we don't see her until into the new year. Other times she does give us little surprises, especially she likes to do
Evermore.
Yeah, that is true. She loves to do a new year surprise. Obviously her birthday has now been and gone. For that we got the Eras archive and lots of BTS videos, which again, we love a behind the scenes video. I love seeing them, because the first time we saw them was at the Eras tour over these speakers that I don't know what was going on, to be honest with you.
I couldn't really hear. There was a lot of I was very overwhelmed, and there was a lot of chatter and a lot of nerves, so I wasn't really paying a lot of attention, but I was trying to pay attention, but then also like, I can't really hear and I'm stressed. So it's nice to be able to properly watch them.
Yeah, for all of those MVs, which are again so interesting to see how Taylor, the big focus of these behind the scenes videos are
it's her kind of directing.
Exactly, as a director, and showing how she is setting up different shots. And again, I think this is definitely paving the way towards her going on to bigger directorial projects.
Yes.
And I think it's a very intelligent thing to put out, to be honest with you, at this point. She knows what she's doing, that's for sure. But for now, that is all we know and that is all we've got. This episode will be out on the 31st. So also, if anything goes down tonight, we will also be reacting to that in the new year. But we're very excited nonetheless. If nothing happens, then we can all rest and let Taylor rest as well, because she definitely has earned a good rest and to just enjoy the holidays like everyone. So that's all good. But it's been a very, very exciting year, full of a lot of fun things for sure.
Okay, so now we're going to move into the Swiftly Spoken Awards section. And basically, if you've been a long time follower, we've been doing this now. This is our 4th year, which is wild. And basically what we do is just different categories of stuff that's happened throughout the year. So like best music video, best album, best vault track, most faithful vault. So we basically base it around what's kind of been released and, what are our listeners' favourite thing that's been released, and then ours. So we obviously talk about what our listeners have voted for, and then what we also vote for. And we put out the votes over on our Instagram stories and our YouTube community polls. So if you voted over there, thank you very much for voting and getting involved. As we've said a million times, and we're starting to sound a bit like a broken record, but we really, really, really do mean it. Thank you again for all the love that we get and all the support and interaction. It really, really means a lot that people are engaged and interested and find us interesting and want to kind of get involved. So thank you again for that. But we'll get into it. So the first category is for Best Music Video. And as Lisa said, previously we've had 2 music videos released this year, which is a little shorter, a little less than some of the previous years where we've had like a kind of massive amount of music videos, but we only had Fortnite and I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. And when it came down to our listeners' vote, it was quite a unanimous decision of Fortnite with over 70% of the vote. How do you feel about that, Lisa? Do you agree?
I was surprised, actually. I thought a lot more people would go for it. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. What was your vote, Cameron? What was... Mine
was Fortnite. I think...
Really?
Okay, yes,
we're split.
That song, when that song was first released, I was slightly unsure about it. It wasn't my favourite. I did like it.
But we are talking about music video, though.
Yes. But the music, exactly. But the music video has been part of that.
Oh, okay.
After seeing it on tour, and I was like, wow, like that bridge, I was like, wow. And then I started watching the music video again and was like, no, this music video really encapsulates like the
feeling of the
imagery
album.
And the feeling of Torture Poets. Like that is the exact, the music video isn't really telling a very like succinct story, unlike previous Taylor music videos, which are often like, a very clear set storyline. It's almost just like telling just the overall vibe and emotions of that whole album. And I was like, no, this music video visually and just like perfectly wraps up the album. So no, my vote was definitely Fortnite. As fun as I Can Do It With a Broken Heart was, and even though I was technically there at its kind of supposed premiere,
right?
I think for me, Fortnite is the one. How come you're feeling differently?
Well, don't get me wrong, I do love Fortnite as well. I think it is the perfect setup for the album. I think it's very artistic music video. I love the Post Malone feature, both in the song and in the video. I loved the behind the scenes footage of him just calling her ma'am all day. That's so funny.
And I love how then she referenced it as well at the VMAs.
Yes. So no, I get that 100%, and I understand why all of these votes, by the way, we've combined from YouTube and Instagram and kind of like rounded it all up. So yeah, I get why so many people enjoy it. I don't know. I think that Eras Tour nostalgia and the Eras Tour. I don't know. It just marked me so much that anything that is like, remember this part of the Eras Tour? I'm like, oh my God, I was there. So
I do.
I guess that's why, but I get it. And I can agree. I can get it from the standpoint of just a music video, without attaching feelings to what exactly it is. Obviously, the Fortnite music video is more artistic and there's more going on. Obviously, there's direction to it. There's a lot going on, isn't there? So yes, 100% understand.
So I guess then our vote, where should we put our vote?
I really don't mind. If you want to agree with Fortnite, I get that.
Should we put it there?
We can go there. We can agree.
Shall I make the executive decision?
You can make the
that we will agree. Yes.
We can.
Best music video goes to Fortnite. So next we have Best Collab. And this year again has been slightly lighter on collabs. With previous years we've had like different weird remixes of Anti-Hero and different Red Big Machine, The National features and all sorts. But this year, the collabs that we had was obviously Fortnite, as mentioned, with Post Malone, Florida with Florence and the Machine, and obviously Us, where Taylor is a feature for Gracie Abrams. And surprisingly, I was actually quite surprised by this, but our listeners, around 70% across Instagram and YouTube, 70% of you guys voted Florida, which I was quite surprised at. I didn't realise that had such a kind of fan base.
I know, altogether it is the overall winner outright. Like there was no contest really, and I was quite surprised as well. I really thought Fortnite was gonna again knock this out the park, but I get it. As a song, it's a very fun collaboration. It's very different for Taylor as well, but slowly but surely getting into Taylor's breaking away from this is just like a collaboration with a little bit of background singing and more into here is a verse and here is a moment as well and the rest of it. And no, Florida really works well with them together. I think also the Eras Tour performances of this song elevated it even more, so perhaps that is also in the back of people's minds. But no, I was quite surprised at this.
Me too. I was quite surprised by it. So I guess then out of these these three, what is your favourite collab?
I guess just as a song, I have to agree. I do like Florida quite a lot. I think it's a very good song. It encapsulates a lot of those feelings really well. And if we're going to give Fortnite Best MV, I'm throwing my vote for Florida in this one.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I'll let you. Personally, my favourite out of them is Fortnite. But again, not to sound all braggy and big-headed, but again, I was there on the debut performance of Florida.
You're always at the scene of the crime.
Yes, I'm always at the scene of the crime. You can trust me to be there whenever Taylor gets brought out or she brings out someone weird and wonderful. But that was unreal when that happened.
Yes.
It was like...
Yes.
Because I was just like, I know that show inside out.
Yeah. As soon as that first little note, I was like, Cameron, are you getting this?
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? It's a bit like when Taylor brought out Travis on stage.
Oh my God.
There's a voice note somewhere in our messages where like, Travis! It's like gibberish. You can't really understand.
Oh God, I love those voice notes. They are saved for eternity.
They are very funny.
They're so good.
But because of that, and also because I kind of made the executive decision for Fortnite MV, I think, we'll
go with the
agree
viewers
with our
again.
listeners. Best collab, Florida.
Yeah, so you guys, we're in tune at the moment. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah. So next we have our favourite award show appearance, and we have only really put down the VMAs and the Grammys as the kind of Golden Globes. As much as it was an award show appearance, it wasn't really anything to do with Taylor.
We didn't get up and see a speech from her or anything like that.
She wasn't really doing much. Our listeners voted, again, this was a little closer in terms of votes, but our listeners voted for the Grammys, and I kind of have to agree a little bit, really, because the Grammys are always so prestigious, so massive, and especially I was in shock.
Album of the year and announcing the new album and looking like that.
Wild.
And all of it combined. Yeah, no, come on. It's
wild.
Yeah,
as fun as the VMAs were, and I did think this year the VMAs were actually quite fun.
They were,
with like Katie's performance, Sabrina's performance, Chapel Roan, and Taylor just having the time of her life. I think that because sometimes the VMAs are very hit and miss. This year actually was quite a good year, but yeah, unfortunately the Grammys, I think, has got to take it. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah. It's just, it was a moment that, no one will ever forget what she was wearing, for example, and the visuals that she gave. And again, historic award win, historic moment for the books and announcing, it has to be the Grammys.
Wild. And then obviously following the Grammys and the announcement of the Torture Poets, our next category is favourite album. And in previous years, when we've had Taylor's versions and things, we've had multiple, so it's been obviously a bit easier to be like, Speak Now or 1989. But this year, technically, there was only one album. However, technically it was kind of two. We've obviously got the standard Torture Poets and then the anthology. So we've split them in half and kind of categorised them as two separate albums. And interestingly enough, on YouTube, the winner was the standard Torture Poets. However, combined, our listeners' favourite album was the anthology. And I must say you have very good taste because I agree. What about you, Lisa?
I guess I do agree. I think I do agree. I gotta say, if we tally up my favourite songs overall, the latter half of the album has more marks to it than the first, 15, 16. So, yeah, no, I get it. It's a very close race over on YouTube. I'm looking at it right now, and it's 51% and 49%. But if we do add up those 24 hours of Instagram votes as well, the anthology just about nabs it.
Tips over.
Which is obviously the latter half of the album. We're counting it as just to...
Yes,
all in all, it is one album, but we kind of wanted to make another moment and another
category.
Yeah, exactly. So
and it's so hard because for me there's some of my all-time favorites are in especially that first half of the standard album, Fortnite, the Torture Poets Department, My Boy, even things like Love of My Life are some of my absolute favourites.
But then the anthology added tracks are
Black
just
Dog.
How did it end?
I hate it here.
Peter. Oh, the prophecy. It's banger after banger. Yeah, it really is. Like I said, if we tally them all up, what we're calling the anthology in this area, but yeah, all of those extra added tracks probably have more marks to them than the standard TTPDD. So again, we're agreeing with you guys. We're agreeing with the listeners. So, taste.
Yes. So next we have favourite track from the standard version of the Torture Poets Department. And this one, there was lots and lots of favourite tracks. So I'll quickly list all the ones that were kind of mentioned, and then obviously we'll go through the kind of winners. So we have Guilty as Sin, Fresh Out the Slammer, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, Love of My Life, or Loss of My Life, But Daddy I Love Him, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, So Long London, Down Bad, My Boy, The Alchemy, and I Could Do It With a Broken Heart. Interestingly, Fortnite, George Poets Department.
Oh God, I've just realised no one mentioned it.
I Can Fix Him. No, Really I Can, Clara Bow.
Yeah.
There's quite a few that are missing, which is interesting. Yes, I was quite surprised.
I was actually very surprised with the winner of this one, but go ahead and tell us. Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of get it. So the winner of this one, again, it was quite close between Who's Afraid of Little Old Me and then the winner, but the winner actually was Guilty as Sin, which is interesting because I remember when I first listened to it, that was one of the standout tracks that I really, really loved.
It is a very good song.
As time's gone on, I've kind of delved deeper into the album, there's definitely other things that I love more. So yeah, what's your opinion on that? What's your favourite?
I was shocked. I didn't know there was such a cult following for Guilty as Sin, but it was
bit like
mentioned.
Florida.
Yeah, it was, which wasn't mentioned, by the way, by anyone.
Widely, yeah.
But as far as, as we tallied it all up, I kept putting marks next to Guilty as Sin, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it's coming up so many times. Very, very interesting to see that. I get it. It is a very good song. I very much enjoy it. So I wouldn't have expected it, but I definitely get it.
Definitely. And then I guess out of your favourites from the standard track list, what would you say is your favourite?
It's a hard one because there are a lot of standout tracks on this album, I have to say. But I think I would probably go for something like My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys. Maybe. I don't know. There's so many good ones. Maybe The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I think those are in my top at the moment. But to be honest, it's still kind of like developing for me. Like every week I have a different favourite from the Tortured Poets Department. So it is difficult. Maybe one of those. What about you? What are your faves at the moment?
I think upon initial listen, my favourites were like, My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys, Guilty as Sin. But I've like fallen like madly in love with Love of My Life, or Lost My Life.
Yes.
Because that final kind of bridge and outro is so gorgeous and so heartbreaking. Like, I love a gut-wrenchingly heartbreaking song, and that song couldn't be more gut-wrenching. It has a little bit of a last kiss, shaky voice moment. So I just kind of love it.
And the twist at the end is also very good.
Yes.
That is, it is very classic
the
Taylor
emotion,
writing.
classic Taylor, it's very Swiftian.
So I get that.
So no, for me, on the standard track list, Love of My Life is the one that I like reach for a lot, and I'm like, I want to listen to that, But yeah, My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys. I've also really kind of grown to love Down Bad. I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
Oh, good. I love Down Bad, yeah.
Yes, but I think the Eras Tour performance of it and mashing it into Fortnite. The way that it then mashes into Fortnite is so seamless and really, really cool. And the kind of seeing the spaceship and stuff, I've really kind of grown to like that one as well. It's definitely not like a hardcore fave, but initially I was a bit unsure, but really do love it now.
I think that the Eras Tour has also marked me with The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, because that was not one of my favourites upon first listen, but now I really like screaming that bridge and feeling how people were literally, people were very much connecting with that song, and I get it. So I have to say that's probably where my vote would ultimately land. It was just such a moment.
I will happily put that as
fair enough.
Put it as our one because it was so cool on the Eras Tour. Like just the drums and the screaming. It was so loud. Like, and I was just like screeching it. You know what I mean? Like,
this is it. It's like, who hurt us all? I don't know, but we were definitely. I don't know. We were all in tune, definitely.
Okay, so the next category was our favourite track from the anthology. So some of the songs that were mentioned were The Black Dog, How Did It End, The Bolter, Albatross, The Prophecy, Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, So High School, I'm Gonna Get You Back, I Hate It Here, The Manuscript, Peter, and I Look in People's Windows, which is interesting because that's quite a bulk. But yeah, things like Cassandra are kind of missing, Robin, which is interesting. But there was, again, the top two favourites. So in second position was How Did It End? But the kind of unanimous winner was The Black Dog, which I'm not surprised about at all because that had such a massive moment within the pub, and also it's just a stellar song anyway.
Very Swiftian in the way that it uses
the location
and like the song coming back, and then and then
the metaphor of the dog.
Black Dog. I get it. I very much get it.
No, it is so good. But what about you? What would you say is your favourite on anthology?
Oh, it's so difficult because there's so many good ones, and I love a new one every week. Right now, I absolutely adore The Prophecy. It's just so good.
Yes, that's really grown on me, The Prophecy.
Yes.
I wasn't a massive fan on it, but I think I saw something about it and then started re-listening and was like, wow.
Yeah, it's
no,
just
I've
such
really
a
grown
good
to love
song.
The Prophecy.
I Hate It Here. I love.
Yes.
Obviously, ones that we always speak about and that we're always very much going on about. Peter and How Did It End? We love a good Taylor Swift ballad. We do. So I get it. How Did It End being second place? I get that as well. I really do.
Yes.
I don't know where I would go, to be honest with you. I guess maybe with How Did It End?
Yeah, that's my vote.
Yeah.
That's my vote. Yeah. How Did It End has, I think since day one, has always kind of stood out to me.
That bridge.
It's just so gorgeous. Like, it's so heartbreaking, and the story
really
is so just like vivid. So no, I think if you're in agreement, I think we will actually, for once, it seems like only the tracks are we disagreeing with.
Yeah, and not really.
I think,
there's, you know,
again, I totally agree.
Get it. Yeah.
But I think, shall we put our vote with How Did It End?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so the final award of the Swiftly Spoken 2024 award is the favourite 2024 Swiftly Spoken episode. And we just, again, want to preface this with just like a thank you massively to anyone who voted. We read all the comments and really like deeply appreciate them. And like, we just recognise like our kind of recurring viewers and people that, you know, regularly comment and listen and are interested. And we really love it and are so grateful that you choose to watch us and interact with us. It means so much, you know, like we started this podcast just kind of on a bit of a whim of like, let's just create a fun little podcast. We'll see how it does. Like, we'll only do it for ourselves and won't worry about, you know, how it's received or anything. But at the end of the day, you always do think, oh, you know, wonder if people do like it or do enjoy it. And the fact that people do and people comment and leave such lovely messages, it really means
and are
so
interested
much,
in like such niche, strange topics. It's really great to see people who are just as in tune with, you know, weird and wonderful parts of Taylor Swift's career and life, and will like send us their feedback and give us information about what they think on a certain topic and how they would analyze a certain like album and location, or, you know, things like that. It's just great to connect with people who are just like a bit nerdy like us with those things. So like you said, Cameron, thank you guys so much for leaving comments, for voting on this on this award specifically, because it really meant that you were connecting with the content that we've put out over the last year, and that's, you know, we deeply do appreciate it.
So yes, as Lisa said, thank you so much for voting for any of the categories, but especially this one, because obviously this one is quite close to our hearts. So I'll quickly mention some of the ones that people said were their favourites, and again, thank you so much. Again, it also helps us by you guys telling us what your favourite is, what kind of content we should keep creating, and what people find engaging, and what is actually good and interesting. So yeah, again, it's also really helpful just so that we are keeping our content interesting and fresh and what people want to hear. But anyways, we'll get into it. So some of the favourites that I mentioned were Eras Tour in London, the Tortured Poets songs on other albums, the Taylor Swift Musical Universe, the 1989 retrospectives, the Ultimate Taylor Swift Concert, Taylor Swift Albums as Locations, Taylor Swift Name Drops, our Bingo Card, Decoding the Tortured Poets Department, and also our Censored Lyric episode. However, out of all of these, the winner was the 1989 retrospective, which I'm very like,
I'm so
grateful and happy for. Because that one was a mammoth, and
it was,
you know, that is all credits to you, because that was when I was wildly MIA.
This is always a collaboration.
The research, the research that you did, and like just at that episode, like sometimes when we film, to be fair, most episodes that we kind of record, I'm like, that was. I think even in our Censored Lyrics one, I think I like ended it being like, we smashed that out of the park. But some of them, you know, and you're like, that was so good. And I re-listened to the 1989 retrospective and I was like, that was so good. Like, that was just a really solid, informative, interesting episode. And I'm really glad that people like that, because there was a lot of effort put into it. And even just from the views that it's received is wild.
It is crazy. Like, so no, it is. I
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that is my favourite of the year, definitely.
Yeah, I have to agree. And again, thank you guys so much for even caring to click on it, to watch it, to vote for it, to come back here and watch this. Thank you. It is. I mean, if you guys weren't here, we're just talking to each other. And as fun as that is, it's great to share this space with more people. So yes, thank you so much. Graciously agree with. I think that was such a fun episode. It took a lot of planning, like you said. It took a lot of investigation, and then, you know, going right back 10 years in time and kind of like accessing that information and all of the fun facts from the era.
And at the time, And at the time, that was our like biggest, longest episode.
Yeah.
I think then the episode after we then like did an even longer one. But at the time, it was like kind of quite a mammoth to take on 1989, and even its Taylor's version is just like humongous. You know, it's
a big era.
To ones we've done before. You know, yeah, in comparison to ones we've done before, which were like Folklore, Evermore, and Fearless Taylor's version, which in comparison to 1989 are like, you know, ants amongst an elephant of an era, definitely. And I'm really glad that we did it, and we really did it justice.
I know a lot of people were in the comment section were asking if we could do other retrospectives. At the moment, like you just mentioned, Cameron, we do have the Folklore and Evermore one, and then obviously we have the Fearless Vault one. We always go over different vaults whenever they come out, and like discussing why they may have been left off and comparing it to the rest of the album. But I hope that perhaps next year we can dive back into some other albums from beginning to end like we did, but it is quite a hefty project to undertake.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is definitely, a big one, but it's always one that we really want to do. And I think also it's finding the time when we can give it justice.
Exactly.
And I think, especially when there's Taylor's versions coming up, sometimes it's quite nice to wait for the Taylor's version.
Yeah. To see the whole picture.
Analyse, the whole picture, how Taylor how she looks upon that album and era with kind of new eyes. Yeah. And also, it's really good to give it time as well to just like even digest the Taylor's versions and then look back on what it's achieved within a year or within 10 years or within 4 years. So I think it's quite good sometimes, as frustrating as it can be, because it is really cool. You do want to jump on it and analyse it. Sometimes it's quite worth like waiting and really letting it like mature and be like, okay, now is a really good time to analyse it and really look back on it with like so much research and kind of almost distance to kind of explore. So no, it's definitely one that we really want to do and really want to do them justice. Thank you again. Can't believe we're in 4 years of this podcast.
Madness.
Absolutely wild. But
as always, let us know as well if you firstly disagree or agree with any of the awards, but especially this one. What content would you like to see coming up in 2025? Is there anything that we've done or we've mentioned that kind of stuck out to you and you thought, because we write all the ideas down. I know that there was a few comments throughout this year that we've got that I've written down into our document, and perhaps you'll be seeing that next year. We will see. But let us know, because it's a good indication, like Cameron said, it's a very good indication to see what you guys are enjoying the most. So thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so next we're going to move on a bit of a retrospective back to January 2024, our first episode of 2024, where we created a bingo card for what we hoped and thought might come about in 2024, and I think that the Torch Post department kind of derailed a lot of those plans, but it's really funny to look back on.
Yeah, so many times throughout the year, just like in different episodes being like, that bingo card. Here we are finally with the bingo card, and it's looking rough. It's
yeah. But I think surprisingly there might be more than we think.
I don't think we have a bingo.
We'll get into it now, I guess.
I don't think
no, I know, I don't think we make a line, a house or anything. I think we're lost. But let's start off. So the first square that we had was the I Did Something Bad special performance, which I think when we spoke about it, we thought that it would be included in
like a moment
of,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a moment,
a bit like Florida.
Yeah.
I think we thought it would be something like that. Technically, it did have a special performance in London because she did it acoustically, and it kind of had a bit of a moment.
I guess. Do we count that though? Are we going to? I don't think so. It's not what we envisioned. I really don't think.
No. So I think, unfortunately, it didn't happen. Next, we had a song feature, and I'm guessing we were meaning like Taylor being featured on someone's track, so which did happen.
We do have something there, so that's great.
Yeah, so that one done. Next was Grammy Song of the Year for Antihero.
Moving on.
Unfortunately didn't happen. Moving on very swiftly. No more Eras Tour dates after this year.
Yeah, that's it. True. It technically did all end. That was it. That's all good for that one. Yep, we said it wouldn't go on for another year or anything like that, so that's great.
Next was TS11's second half of the year.
Oh, we were close. We were close. It was unfortunately in the first half of the year though. Yeah.
But oh well. Next we had Costume Changes.
Great. Yeah,
got that one right.
Good.
Next, we had a live performance of Castles Crumbling with Hayley Williams. And I think when we spoke about it more in this way of like Phoebe Bridgers, nothing new, like a proper feature.
That is true.
In the set list. However, it did happen.
It did happen. So I'm giving it to us. I do think we can say, because it happened. It almost didn't happen, but it did happen. This one is so... we were big-brained with this one.
Yeah. No debut this year, which is true.
Yep.
Debut did not come out this year, so another tick. Next was Taylor's version Droplets, I think, a bit like Taylor did pre-Eras Tour, which as of now has not happened.
Oh, we were so close with this line. We were so close with this line.
I know.
But no droplets.
It would have, yeah, no droplets, unfortunately. But however, the final one on this line was Eras Tour on streaming, which happened.
Yep.
Because it is now on Disney+.
Yep.
Then on the next line, we had Rep TV in February.
Moving
I don't know who we thought we were. Yep. That never happened.
It was Taylor in the Time interview. She,
Yeah. She was a little bit too... She clearly just, like, handed in Reputation or was definitely in the midst of recording it.
Yeah.
But we have had hints of it. You know, with Look What We Do, Delicate, but, you know, nothing has
nothing at the moment
come of it. London Boy in London, tick, that happened. Record Store Day release, again, didn't happen, which I was quite surprised about, actually. But but technically, she'd kind of released on, that was Black Friday, wasn't it? The book and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think she's had a lot of releases that might have been a bit too much for people.
Yeah.
Then this one's really interesting. We thought that TS11 was going to be either silver or gold, or both, which it was not. It was white, really. It's a bit more clinical than that, so I don't think we can give it to us. No, definitely not,
unfortunately.
Next line, starting off, we had Paris in Paris, tick, that
great
happened.
Yep.
Next was Taylor Sings Every Song.
Don't get me started on this one.
Debatable, yes, because technically
No, those Fearless Vault tracks. Justice for the Fearless Vault tracks and the Red Vault tracks.
I know. Yeah,
I hate when Taylor does these things. It's like, why did you not complete the 1989 combination, you know, like tops and skirts? Like, there's two combinations left, the yellow and the green, and the green and the green. And she did every single combination, repeated others, and she didn't do them too. Oh, I know. It just annoys me so much. Well, Taylor, why?
It is frustrating, I know. Tour close / birthday release.
No.
Again, what we meant was not what really came out.
No.
Behind the scenes is not what we were
we were thinking... I guess we were thinking maybe a documentary announcement or a film announcement or a TV announcement. Or
like a droplet.
Yeah. But no, not what we...
Yeah, no. So no, unfortunately not. TS11 and Midnight's being connected. I think naturally they are, but maybe not. Not in the way that we imagined. That we were thinking.
And not in the way that other albums are connected, you know?
No, definitely not. And I think... You know, naturally there is going to be some connection because some of the stories that Taylor's telling on Midnight.
I know a lot of people do argue that they are more connected than what it appears to be, because, like, a lot of people say, it's her 13 sleepless nights and then Fortnight. You know, but I can't justify what we were thinking it was going to be. I can't justify it.
No, definitely not. Then the next one we'll move swiftly on from, which was a Rep Taylor's version music video. Next. Then we had Eras Tour live album. Unfortunately, still has not happened yet.
Right.
So didn't happen. Again, this one moving swiftly onwards. Rep TV having collabs.
We don't know.
It never happened.
Nope.
We will find out. Something Special in the UK was our next one, which...
Ticket, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
that is
Travis.
a tick. Because Travis, Gracie...
Florida.
Jack, Florence... Yeah. So definitely, that was definitely a lot of very special things happened. Aaron Dessner appearance. Unfortunately, we got the wrong producer.
Yep.
It was Jack that she was, bringing out on stage. Unfortunately, so no, that is not a tick. And then we also said, which is very
this
wild
one's
of us
embarrassing.
to say,
Like, look away, everyone.
Our final thing was no big setlist changes. Which couldn't be further from the truth. I don't know who we thought Then we were saying, like, Rep TV being released, and then we were saying, like, I did something bad special performance. But yeah, nothing big changed to the set.
But no big change.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, we have not got a bingo.
We got that very wrong.
Anyway, no, there's too many X's, unfortunately. Never mind, we tried. I think we were derailed by Reputation Taylor's version.
Yes.
But
yes, I think that Time 100 has kind of...
At the beginning of the year, it felt like that. Once she announced TTPD, obviously we changed our tune and we realised that was kind of like it for this, not like in a bad way, but like that was the focus, of this year. And obviously the Eras Tour, which is the biggest focus. But still, unfortunately, no, we did not get bingo this year. But we did have a lot of, ones that we got right as well. So there's a combination, there's a mix of things.
So I guess finishing off this year, the next thing is to look to next year, which is terrifying that we're coming up to 2025.
It just feels like we were doing this yesterday for the bingo, and now here we are again. Oh, I hate to see
I remember editing the thumbnail and stuff for it. It's wild that, we're now a year away from that. But there's a lot to be excited about. As ever with Taylor, there's always stuff to be excited about. But next year, there's a couple of things coming up. Obviously, confirmed things are the Grammys. And I would be amazed if Taylor doesn't rock up. She is definitely going to be there because she is up for some big hitters. So the Torture
much
Poets
more than I even
album,
expected. Like, these Grammy nominations are crazy.
Huge. I thought she was going to be in the kind of like pop categories, pop vocal, things like that, but she's in the big ones. So the Torture Poets album is obviously up for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. Fortnight the Song is up for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Music Video, and then Us with Gracie Abrams is up for Best Pop Duo / Group Performance. We've definitely got an appearance for Taylor for that, and hopefully a win here and there.
I'm not even going to mention that category anymore, because we've mentioned it the last 2 years.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
we've
doing
did a whole
anymore.
video on it. I'm not even going to mention it yet. Album of the Year, I don't know how likely that is, considering she's just come off the back of winning it.
Exactly.
I think the Torture Poets is so deserving.
But
get back to back, I just don't know.
It is a very tough year, though. I have to say, there's a lot of amazing albums in that category, and
last
in
year,
general.
the competition. Yeah, the competition was a little lighter, whereas this year has been album after album after album after album, and some massive, huge cultural big albums, and some solid albums as well. So I think that is slightly unlikely. I think hopefully Fortnite, potentially Us, we'll see, but that is a confirmed thing that Taylor's up to. But some things that potentially in the kind of rumours and airways is an Eras Tour kind of last hurrah with the potential behind the scenes documentary. We've seen a lot of filming. There's definitely something being filmed with Taylor leaving the stage.
Exactly. And on the stage on those last 3 nights. Like, you can't trick me. I saw that with my eyes.
Yes, exactly. So there's definitely something coming with that, which is really, really exciting.
Potentially,
and I do think
by the time that this episode is out, we may have more information, which if we do, we'll leave, we will have already reacted, we will leave a comment pinned, so we're all up to date. But at the moment, perhaps in the new year.
As of yet.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be really exciting, and I hope it gets a big cinema release as well.
Because I've loved that last little hurrah.
Was so good. Yes, that'd be so fun to feel like you kind of get like one little last go at it.
One last souvenir.
That is incoming. Then, yes. Then also, as I was hinting right at the start of the episode, are we potentially moving into the film? Because Taylor is written and supposed to be directing a movie, and she's definitely been gearing up towards it, I think. Especially initially, it kind of started with All Too Well, short film. She did the directors on directors thing, and then kind of took a bit of a back seat. But now that she's kind of been doing the music videos with Midnights, and also appearing at the Golden Globes at the start of the year, doing this behind the scenes stuff of showing her directing, I think that potentially they might be gearing up again.
I agree.
To kind of remind the film world that, this is coming. This is something that she, her skill and stuff of directing. So I think potentially that might be coming. I don't think it definitely won't be released, because movies, that's not like a quick turnaround, but there might be a kind of lead up to stuff, and there might be more things of finding out when it's going to start. Exactly. When it starts filming.
Yeah, exactly.
Name, things like that.
Potentially.
Which will be really exciting.
So exciting.
Yes, really
potentially
exciting.
At some point in the future, we will be going to the movies to watch
to watch a Taylor Swift directed film. Wild.
That's so exciting.
Wild. Goosebumps.
Very exciting.
That's crazy. So that is obviously potentially something on the cards. Another thing on the cards is Taylor's versions.
Yes.
And it seems like the recurring pattern is album, 2 Taylor's versions, album, 2 Taylor's versions. And we've just had a year of album. So potentially we have 2 left. So hopefully next year...
Will it be completed? Yes, that is the question. Will be complete,
which is really exciting. I do think personally debut will be first, and then finish it off with a big bang with Reputation, as that is so in demand.
It's funny because this is like the same conversation that we had this time last year.
Yes.
We were so confident. But, things change, and we're very happy for that. Taylor we follow her lead because she knows what she's doing, that's for sure. So
exactly. It's always well thought out. It always makes sense.
Exciting to see. Exciting. I'm very excited for this year to see, what's going to come next, music-wise, but also behind the scenes other things. So, as always, we'll be around.
And also if we'll get... Yes, and also if we get any performances, like even Weird and Wonderful ones, which gets brought out as a surprise guest, because there's nothing on the cards.
Yeah, I hope we do get a little weird and wonderful. I know there's rumours going around at the moment. We won't get into them because we don't want to we don't want to blow up things that then, don't happen, and it's...
are not true.
Yeah. But no, we will always be around to react and to decode everything and to, delve into all of the things that Taylor is up to, and if not, all of the things that she's already been up to, and deep dive into it all, as we always do. But a lot of exciting things coming, and I definitely agree with you. My number one thing that I do want to see right now is just that last little moment for the Eras Tour, like a little
Eras Tour, yeah,
moment
to tie it all up with a nice little bow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. So no, fingers crossed, we've got an exciting year for Taylor. Obviously, we will be, as Lisa said, reacting and chatting, and we have lots of fun, exciting episodes planned, and I'm sure ones that we don't even know that we're going to be making next year, that we all have to kind of jump on and be like, react to this, do this, and whatever. So it's definitely exciting, lots to look forward to. But as we've said a million times, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being involved, and everyone that has just listened, interacted, messaged, whatever this year. We are so, so grateful, and it genuinely means a lot, and it's been a very, very, very good year for us. So yeah, thank you again. But if you did enjoy this episode and you are not yet following us, please subscribe over on YouTube, and also follow us over on Instagram if you want to keep up to date with all things Swiftly Spoken when we're announcing episodes. If you did also like this video on YouTube, please give it a like. If you liked it and you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere where you can listen to podcasts, we'd also really like it if you would rate us. But until next time, have a good New Year, and we will see you in the new year.